What's up, guys? Just got back from Australia yesterday, and this is my list that I finished top 16 with in the main event. Huge shout out to Pedro Torres for testing and refining the list before I got there, and then we worked on the list a little bit better and refined the matchups and learned a little bit of the stuff. Um, so basically, I got to Australia. So I know you guys want to know a little bit about my deck building or picking process, that kind of stuff. So before I left for Australia, I had been testing a little bit because I didn't have too much time in between everything, and I had been testing Jirachi Zapdos, Pikazak, Zoro stuff, that kind of I'd been testing a little bit of everything, and I'd been liking Jirachi Zapdos with the Buzzwole and the Fighting Energy, which was I think my number one choice going into the weekend. And I'd been testing that a little bit, and it was doing pretty well except for Zork. Zork was pretty hard. So that being said, Zork being hard is not good for any deck, in my opinion. So I get on my flight Tuesday morning or Tuesday evening, sorry. And as I'm going, we get delayed on the runway for about an hour. So I'm a little freaked out. I have a very short connection in Houston, and we get to Houston, and I had missed my connection, my connecting flight. So I'm a little freaking out. I should have had plenty of time, and now my connection in LA is shorter and everything, and so I'm a little scared. Everything's not looking good for me. They put me on the next flight out from Houston, which is an hour later or 2 hours later. Sorry, the my original flight. So I have an hour layover now in like an extra additional hour layover in Houston than I originally had. And so I get to LA and there's about I land when I should be boarding the other flight, and very luckily for me, I went United the whole way through, and I didn't, but I did do separate tickets because it was cheaper, and I booked everything separately. Like I booked the LA flight, or they booked the Australia flight first, and then I booked my LA flight because I had to clear some exams and stuff. Um, and because of that, I was very lucky because the gate was right next to each other. So I literally got off the flight from Houston, walked like I don't know, not too bad. Like it was like two gates over, and I was already there. And if you know anything about LAX, if I was in any other terminal, that would have been hell to get through. Um, but I was already there, very luckily for me, and so I made it. Like people were, like group one was already boarding when I got over there. I said hi to everybody, Connor Finton, John Eng, those guys, Connor Peterson, and then I hopped on and we were good to go. I landed, went straight to my Airbnb, and the testing began. We had like five people testing, or like we had five games going at once. We had a pretty broken testing group, and we were just testing every matchup and every deck. And the more I tested, the more I enjoyed this deck. So the reason I settled on this over the three lists that our group had been testing were this Pikazak list, um, the Jirachi Zapdos Buzzwole and Lego list that Robin, Bert, and Brian played to top 8, top 16, and top 32 respectively, and Stefan's Zorak Lycanroc list. So been testing those three decks. Sam was pretty set on the Zorak Lycanroc deck until I told him to play me, and I 4-1'd him with this list. And then I played against Stefan in a best of three, and I won 2-1, and then Pedro also did the same. So the matchup is not favored for this deck whatsoever, but it is winnable. And if you can't auto win that matchup, I felt like I wouldn't play Zorak in the main tournament, and I had made my mind up on this deck for sure. So without further ado, let's jump into the list. So there's two Pikachu Zekroms. It's lifeblood of the deck, naturally. Full Blitz, 150, and then Tag Bolt for 200 if you got 6 energies attached, or 3 extra lightning. So it could be 5 with Thunder Prism. You do 200, 170. So it's your game closer, really. Um, Unlike Jose's top 4 list, you're not fully dependent on Tag Bolting as early as you can. You can kind of Full Blitz for the damage and not get the energies if you need to, because you can also be a Jirachi Zapdos deck, as I'll explain as we go on. There's an Absol because it's the MVP of the deck, and we really need it for the Ultra Malamar matchup more than anything, because the escape boards onto the Inkays, you just needed to stall them for 1 extra energy, because you'll be killing Malamars, hopefully. So, yeah. Tap Coco Prism lets you make big plays. Dance of the Ancients gets the 2 energies out of the play. Lets you build in a Tapu Koko. You get the energy switches. You can kind of do whatever you need with it. Tapu Koko GX is a big response to Pika, other Pikazeks, and also, just in general, comes out of nowhere. It can help against Zoroark a lot. It was really good against Zoroark. That's one thing we learned. There's 2 Zapdos. There was a third, that was the Absol, but it became the Zapdos. Or, sorry, there's a third Zapdos, it became the Absol. The point of the 2 Zapdos and the 4 Jirachi is that the deck starts off like a Zapdos Jirachi deck if you need it to. If your hand is a little slow, and you are, like, playing the 1 prize game for a little bit, and then out of nowhere, you can, once you have the energies, the discards with the Dance of the Ancients and the energy switches, you can full blitz, set up another Pikarom, and sure, your first Pikarom goes down, but if you've been playing the 1 prize game, you should be able to set up for the Tag Bolt and end the game. Which, in theory, is, it is what should happen, and it did happen a lot of the time. There's a Zorora for the free retreat, in Thunderclap Zone, and Plasma Fist, pretty good attack. 1 Lele. We thought about going to no Lele and playing 1 Marshadow, but I think we were all scared, and I think it was the right play to play Lele in the end, because I think being scared was better than, losing, because you couldn't play the game, if that makes any sense. Then there's 4 Electro Power. Naturally, it's just very strong and does a lot of damage. Helps out numbers with Zapdos, because like it's just an insane modifier. You can't play less than 4 in any Lightning deck. There's 2 E-Switch. Also, we didn't play 6 E-Switch outs like Jose, because our deck isn't dependent on the turn 1 full blitz. It's just we need to full blitz at some point, or attack with one of the other 2 guys. 2 Escape Rope, 2 Switch was the split we chose. Escape Rope is really good against Malamar decks in the early game, because you can force them to give you an Inkay, or against Zoroark decks because you force them to give you something they don't want to give you on their bench, like a Rockruff with energy or a Ditto or something, a lot of the time, which is really nice, because you can, with little resources, pull out a free knockout. There's 4 S Ball and 4 Ultra Ball. It's just very consistent and gets what you need to get. The only change I'd make is cutting an S Ball for a Stretcher, because I think having a Stretcher would have given us an extra Zapdos to play the single prize game a little bit longer, which was the only issue I had against Zapdos Jirachi, because it just gives you 1 extra turn to kind of set up and use Zapdoses. Sorry, still jet lagged. 1 Thunder Mountain, 1 Viridian. We just needed another Stadium. The Viridian was a 12th energy, but we wanted the Viridian just to have a way to get our energies. This could have been an Aether. We thought about that. I wanted a Wondrous Labyrinth, but the way our list is built, it wouldn't have been very good. We played 1 Erika's because it was going to be an Erika's or a Cynthia's, and we just wanted something to draw extra cards under Muck, because Muck really does stifle the deck, and the Erika's did its job pretty well under Muck. 4 Guzma, 4 Lily. Pretty much Lilying turn 1 is very important. If you can get the Lily off turn 1, you should be set for the rest of the game, as long as you're going to get Marshadowed early or judged early into a Muck. Lilying kind of just sets up your hand to Volkner every turn after that and just win the game. Volkner was the MVP, naturally. Based on what you Lily into, you can kind of Volkner set up for future knockouts a lot of the time. Because a lot of the time, all you need is an energy plus an Electro Power to kind of do what you need to do. Or with Volkner, you can get Death Ball energy for the attacker, and suddenly you've got a Zapdos setup. Or you can go with Switch energy, or even Energy Switch. 2 Choice Band, 2 Board. Pretty self-explanatory. 11 Lightning energy. So let me go into my matchups. Round 1, I went up against Zoroark. So off the bat, a quote-unquote on bad paper matchup. I went second to start the game. He judged himself to 4 with no Zoroark in play after I knocked out his Zorua and hit Lycanroc energy counter gain, I believe. And I was like, oh, or no, Stretcher for Lycanroc and energy counter gain. And knocked me out. My Pikazek out, and I had no. I like killed the active Lycan, and then he just had me the next turn or something. It was something absurd like that. Then games 2 and 3, I kind of just set up better, and I won. So I got a little. He got a little lucky, but I ended up pulling out the series. Round 2, I went up against Ultra Malamar on the backup stream. Game 1, I fumbled a little bit and didn't set up properly, and naturally this led to me just losing the game. Game 2, I just, swept him. And then game 3 was another one of those, didn't set up, didn't open Jirachi. And I believe he had a Marshadow early that kind of stuck. I don't think I Lily turned one either. And then he Marshadowed me into pretty much a dead hand, and then the game spiraled out of control from that. So I'm 1-1. And then round 3 went up against the Pikachu Mirror, which it was the same list, I believe, that Kai went and played to a top 4. But it was just another Singaporean player. Super nice guy. Just not the most experienced player. And I was able to take that series 2-0 just because of... I didn't expect the Wobbuffet one of the games, but it didn't really stop me. Just game 2, I knew it was coming, so I played around it. Round 4, I went up against another Pikazek. This time, I don't know. I think the list was more turbo on this one because I didn't see it in Zapdos. So I just kind of played the Zapdos game against him. And I just kind of won. Which I don't know how else to describe the matchup. Like we just kind of traded, and because I used Zapdos early, and I just my hand was good enough where I could just Guzma up the Pikazek and hit it off of turn 1 double Jirachi or something. So I did that, and then he kind of couldn't do anything about it. And the next turn I full blitzed with my Pikazek, and then didn't get any energies, so his Tapu Koko wasn't even live. And then he threw up something, and then I one-shot it, and then I put energies on the board, and then even though he Coco'd, it was too late. So I'm 3-1. I went up against Ultra Mally, round 5. I won game 1 very convincingly because he just had kind of bricked, and then game 2 I was winning, and I didn't really see a way I could lose, because I was killing all the Malamars like I should be. And then all of a sudden this man B-strings, and I was like, oh no. And then the B-string kind of won him the game because I didn't expect the B-string. I don't think I could have played around it, but I didn't expect it, so. And then I lost that game, and then game 3, I just kind of started killing Inkays, and he eventually, I think he played a Marshadow GX as well. And so he eventually tried to go in with the Marshadow GX, so I just went with an early Coco or something to one-shot his Ultra Necrozma with Sky High Claws instead of the GX, and then his Marshadow came up with a response, and then I just used Thunderclap Zone for the knockout, I believe with Zorora. I never used Pikazek the third game. I don't think, my hand was just so good that I didn't have to use Pikazek the third game. I just went with as a Zapdos Jirachi deck that played 2 GX attackers kind of thing. So I'm 4-1. I went up against another Pikazek this next round. It was Nicholas Scala's, a super good friend of mine. Game 1, I set up perfectly, and I just rolled him. Game 2, he set up perfectly and rolled me. Turn 1 full blitz kind of thing for both of us. Game 3, I'm setting up perfectly, and then I have a really awkward stumble where I miss an energy. So I do all the math in my head. I Volkner for the third Electra Power, and I go Tapu Koko. He has 3 energy on board. Tapu Koko, Escape Rope. He brings up the Pikazek, and then I go GX attack with 2 Electra Powers for what I thought was knockout in my head, because for some reason it had been a long day and I was jet lagged. So I was thinking Electra Powers plus 50, right? Yeah, plus 50. So I do that, and then I have the third Electra Power in my hand. And I take the knockout. I draw my 3 prizes, and then everybody in the crowd watching me just quiet. And then we both realized that I did not have a knockout there. I had the Electra Power in hand. Everybody in the crowd acknowledges it. The judge behind me acknowledged it. But there was no way of knowing that for him that the Electra Power was in my hand. So the attack goes through as such. And then I thought I lost the game right there because I got a double prize. and I already had a Pikazek on board. So he goes for turn, and he is like, his hand is kind of bad, so he hits a Lily for 2 or 3 and needs to hit the energy, and he doesn't. And I just take a knockout on the active, and then he has another turn to respond to take a knockout on my active, because it's still a double prize penalty game, so like I can still lose the game here. But because he misses that knockout that one turn, I was able to just kind of win with full blitz the following turn with my modifiers. I got a little lucky on that one. I shouldn't have won because of my prize penalty, but just think the moves out carefully. Because Electro Power is plus 30, not plus 50. I was thinking plus 50 because the GX of Coco was 50 times. So, brain fart of the day. So now we're 5-1. I up against John Eng now. Next, round 7, Zoroark. Again, naturally unfavored matchup, but at 5-1, rather than IDing, I would like to play it out because I'm trying to win the tournament. We play in game 1. Game 1's a competitive game. I full blitz. Things happen. He scoops pretty early because I think I killed both his Rockruffs in play, or like Ditto Rockruff or something in 2 turns, and then like Zoroark really couldn't do anything about it. Like I think he put 2 DCs out, and then I just went GX with Coco, and then I just went into like Thunderclap Zone or something. And then game 2, I turn 1 full blitzed his, not turn 1 full blitz. I turn 1 Sky High Claws his Zorua with DCE because he Marsh Shadowed us both, and I had the turn 1. I like opened Coco Prism and like stuff, so I just went with the turn 1 Sky High Claws to take out his DCE and his, I think it was Lone Zorua. So his board is now Ditto Rockruff, and he drew, and then he passed, and then I just went Sky High Claws, and then he went drew, and then scooped. And the game ended in 5 minutes. So naturally unfortunate for John, but I'm 6-1, so I'm now in day 2. I was playing on IDing round 8 to play round 9, because I didn't really like the bracket I was in at 6-1. Was a lot of Zapdos Jirachi. So naturally I get up paired to Preston, who's 6-1, playing Zoroark. Same 60 as John. Game 1, all 3 games I didn't open Jirachi. So game 1 looks really bad for me. I couldn't close out the game, I think. I had a very crucial turn where I needed like an energy switch plus Electro Power or something off of a Lily for like 3 or 4, and I didn't hit it. And yeah, I naturally just couldn't close out game 1. Game 2, I just won. And then game 3 was a huge brick on my part because I didn't open Jirachi. You got turn 2 Muck, and it just was ugly. So I lost that one. I got down to 2 prizes, but it was one of those situations where those last 2 prizes would never get taken because Muck was in play. So even though it looked close in prize count, the game wasn't really close. I just lost. And the last round, I don't really know what I played against because I didn't bother asking. We just ID'd because I was really tired and jet lagged. I just wanted to get the hell out of there and go to bed. I was hungry. I was tired. I had flown halfway across the globe a day before. So ID'd, go to 6-2-1. Everyone's guaranteed. Move it to day 2. Went home, took a nice shower, got up. Everyone on Airbnb made it. Pretty happy for everybody. Came back, ready to rock and roll. Went up against Ultra Mally round 10. Ultra Mally is a decent matchup for me, like I said. I lost the flip, so it was a little scary. Game 1, I thought I had it in the bag. And I had like skateboards and stuff in my hand. And I didn't play them because like I didn't want to, like I didn't know what he would be doing the following turn, like, you know, Guzma stuff. So he went up ahead and Guzma'd up my, I counted everything. All his medals are gone. He had a beast energy left if he played it in Ultra. So he went up ahead and Guzma'd my Zapdos and then Horror House GX'd out of nowhere. And I was like, oh no. And then he had enough to Poltergeist if he had a Guzma on my Pikazek. But he didn't know that. He didn't want to take that risk, right? Because he needed 5 items out of my 8-card hand. But instead, he, off the Horror House, proceeded to, I think, draw, go Ultra Ball, or Treasure for Ultra, set it up, Acrobike, and then, like, hit the Beast, and then Guzma up my Pikazek, and then knock it out with the Beast. Because that was his last energy out to use Ultra. And then the next 2 games, I knew about Horror House, so I just targeted down the Incase. And then, like, I just didn't play. I just played around Horror House to the point where, like, yeah, you can horror house me, but I'll just full blitz you, and then we'll play like that kind of a game. Or like I'll have something ready, like with like I mean I wouldn't have the one shot, but I just like I I had one point I believe where I lilied and my hand was like 3 electro power and like a choice band, um, or something along those lines. And then I just like looked at my hand and I said, I guess I'm playing with Zapdos this game, and I used Zapdos to one shot an Ultra, and I did that again. And then the game kind of ended because then I didn't ever put down a GX for him to whorehouse into. And then I saw Dance of the Ancients and stuff for the late game, so he just kind of picked it up. Um, Around 11, I went against Pikazek. Game one, I think I just went turn one full blitz, didn't attach energies. Went turn two full blitz. I believe knocking out like something else, putting energies onto the board. I put like yeah, I just did that, and then like yeah, and then game two he put down a Thunder Mountain turn one or something like that, and so I full blitz turn one to put 3 energies onto the board, knocking out a Jirachi, I think, and then he went turn two full blitz, putting energies onto the board. Yeah, and then I went Coco GX. No, he went Coco GX. I went Coco GX. And then he went full blitz, knock out my Coco. No. Sorry. He went full blitz. I went full blitz. For knockout. Yeah. I went full blitz, he went full blitz. He knocked out my Pikachu. And now we're at 3-3 or something like that. And then he went up, killed my Coco or something. And then I went Zorora, double energy switch. Not double energy switch. Zorora attach. Dance of the Ancients because I had the stadium in play. Thunder Mountain. And then I went like Volkner for electro power after I got choice band off the Jirachi. And then I killed him with... I had two modifiers to kill him with Zorora. And so the game ended in like 5 turns, but that's because like it was just back and forth, like pop, 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 pop. And then yeah, I won Pikazek. So now I'm 8-3-1. I need to win 2 of my last 3 to make top 8, 1 to make top 16, or potentially make top 16, not bubble naturally. I'm up against Danny. All 3 games are super, 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 super close. Like 1 prize differential. I have this super weird turn game 3. Well, he has a super weird turn game 3 where like he has to Cynthia turn 1 instead of Lily, or after I kill Jirachi, he has to Cynthia, and his board is just Zapdos, and he hits like Nest Ball, like energy switch, and I'm like, oh, lovely. And so he just like sets up another Zapdos, and I didn't have the Guzma to kill the Jirachi, his like lone Jirachi or whatever, and it got super annoying. So unfortunate, but I barely lost that series. And then I went against round 13 against Carl Peters, playing Jirachi, Zapdos, Buzzwole, Lycanroc, which was really scary. Game 1, he sets up pretty bad. I just win. Game 2, I go into the Sledgehammer turn and can't kill it afterwards, which is really unfortunate of me. I probably could have played it slower. I just got a little antsy, and I could smell victory. You know, I could smell top 8. And then game 3, I just targeted down his Jirachis. He got the Sledgehammer turn off on my Zapdos, didn't kill it, and then I just won. I think I just Sky High Claws him that turn, and then the game ended naturally because then he put a Rockruff down with an energy, and then I just Guzman it up and then knocked it out. His hands weren't great the first or third game, and I just kept Guzmaning up those Jirachis. Because naturally, if he's playing that many like extra techs, he's got to be playing less of something. So Jirachi's probably his draw engine there. And so now I'm on my way into top 8. And if anybody watched the stream, you know exactly how that went. No disrespect to Henry, he's a good kid. He played it well. His list was very optimized to beat Pikazek. The new Lycanroc is very scary. I didn't really know what to play around in his list because I didn't have any knowledge of it prior to that game. I just knew he played the new Lycanroc. I did get flustered towards the end, and I was upset that I lost, but no hard feelings to him. We talked it out after. He apologized, and I told him, "Nah, dude, it's all good. You won. Good luck in top 8. Like, get it. I hope you go deep." I just needed a couple minutes to shake it off because I thought this was my chance to make a deep run and win the tournament naturally. And for any competitor who's been so close so many times, it's tough. It's tough losing like that. So it's not that I lost; it's the way I lost. So going into Collinsville, the only change I'd make is Nestball for Stretcher. I don't know if I'd play the list again. I think the meta's gonna change a lot based on because all these lists are now out. People are gonna copy stuff. Things are gonna be different for this weekend. So I don't know what I'll play personally because I just got home and I got stuff to take care of. I'll figure it out Friday probably, as usual. But that all being said, love you guys. Thank you for watching. I did have a pretty good vlog stuff set up. Shout out to everybody in the Broken Airbnb for day 2ing and doing really well. Shout out to everyone in general. I'll have my vlog uploaded sometime this week. I want to edit it, make sure it looks good when I have some time. But thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys for all the kind messages I got after the stream game. I know I didn't open them right away. I was just in a little bit of a mood, but it really did cheer me up. It was very comforting. It was very nice hearing all the nice things you guys had to say about me. I am a very emotional person and an emotional player, so yeah, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And that all being said, thank you for watching this, and thank you for supporting me constantly. Thank you for being there for me. I do this for you guys, and it's nice to hear that. I mean, I'm having some sort of an impact. So if you guys enjoyed the video, naturally like, subscribe, yada yada. You know the spiel. Yeah, and hopefully this weekend in Collinsville, I have a better result than top 16 IC. But also, fun fact: if I can get top 16 this weekend in Collinsville, I would have locked up a full U.S. invite in like 23 days or something, like 4 weekends basically. So thank you guys so much for watching, and peace.